Okay, this is an ATC400 transfer case out of an E83 BMW X3. It's a little bit of a post-mortem on how it failed. At least some of the things I noticed. So it's full of this sludge. I think is fluid that got really hot and also is mixed with some fine metal dust. But in a healthy transfer case, you would not see all of this on the inside. It would be quite clean. Okay, so I think the first thing that failed in this was inside this clutch pack here. This clutch pack sits no. Okay, this clutch pack sits like this, right on this shaft here, right down, and this is the input from the transmission comes this way, and then the output for the rear drive shaft sits like that. Okay, so this is the clutch pack, and you can see, first of all this stuff had to be kind of hammered apart. It was pretty seized on there. Alright, so the clutches, nothing to see there really. They're full of metal dust, but they're not super worn. Okay, what is worn is these actuator arms. There's bearings on either side of these, and oh, there goes one of them. Alright, so that's what a relatively healthy bearing is supposed to look like that. Okay. Alright, so these, when four-wheel drive is engaged, this cam right here is turned by the actuator motor, and it rotates. You can see it's ramped up this way. It rotates and it spreads apart these arms here, and that compresses the clutch pack and gives four-wheel drive. So these arms ride on bearings on either side. They look like this. Can't get that off, but there we go. Okay, they look like this. Very thin, flat roller bearings. Oh, this one came off. Okay. And then it sits on there. There's bearings in between here. They just fell out, but those are just ball bearings. Right. This is the top bearing. What's left of it, there's nothing else except for maybe these pieces here, pieces of the bearing, and then this inner piece. There's nothing left when I took this apart, and as you can see, the bearing surface is destroyed on this and destroyed on this top plate that sits like this down. So there's no bearing left there. Alright, there's also thrust washers in these to preload the clutch pack. For reference, this is what another used set of thrust washers, which are probably slightly collapsed from what they were, but these are relatively healthy. This is what they look like, and this is how they're stacked inside. Concave sides towards each other, and two sets of them like that. Alright, so this is the stack that came out of this transfer case. And they look like that, so they're quite collapsed. This is a bearing, plastic cage split bearing that rides in the main shaft like this. There's nothing left of that. Okay, the chain. This is the chain out of this transfer case, which I'm going to show you. I can pretty easily squeeze together with one hand. Just bend it backwards and squeeze together with one hand. Here is another used chain. This is out of a transfer case with 160,000 or so miles on it, so it's also used. But this is all I can do. I can't squeeze that together with one hand. Again, this is a used one. So that's a bit of how this transfer case failed. At some point it got really hot, for sure. Bearings got absolutely ground into dust, and I think that's what most of this is just bearing dust. So this shows the importance of fluid changes on these. BMW, I believe, says it is lifetime fluid, but it is not. Should be changed probably every 25,000 miles, or at least ever. And you want to use the right fluid, which is Shell TF0870 or equivalent. And that's about it.